Thank you so much, Kevin. That was a wonderful and magical time that we spent in Peru. Well, welcome everybody here. The Ambassador of Peru is here, and many distinguished guests who are going to present to you later today, and friends and colleagues. It's great to see you all. I was struck by Mr. Alvarez's comments because on the plate up this morning, I was reading Pope Francis's new encyclical, in which he cites the words of St. Francis. And many of the words are very similar about our planet and our place on the planet and how everything is connected and everything has a spirit and everything has its place and needs its respect. So we see this through cultures, and it's good to see Pope Francis today taking this on as well. So it's a great pleasure to be here and to personally welcome you to this symposium, The Great Inca Road, Engineering and Empire. And I say this personally for many reasons. First, as a civil engineer, as Kevin noted, who in another life specialized in designing large infrastructure projects, I'm fascinated by the Inca and their accomplishments as builders. I marvel at their monumental buildings and at the monumental buildings with innovative designs for earthquake resistance, the impressive structures that they use to stabilize mountainsides and turn them into spaces for agriculture, their accommodation of principles of sustainability, which we try so hard to do today, and of course what we're here to celebrate today, the remarkable Inca Road itself. And second, as the former secretary of the Smithsonian, I had the privilege, as Kevin noted, of spending most of a week in Peru with Kevin and his wife, but being escorted with these two great curators, Ramiro and Jose, and having them personally tell us about their experiences. Now, it was my formal responsibility while I was there to sign documents with our friends in Peru to assure the integrity of and the safety of precious artifacts and that the work would be historically accurate. And I was glad to do that. And while I was there, I was honored to participate with the descendants of the Inca in Chiratori and high in the Andes in a procession of the Llama, and to be greeted using a Quechua title that was translated as Great Chief. And that was important to me because as Secretary of the Smithsonian, I report to the Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts. It's a peculiar thing, but that's the way it works here. And I was able to tell the Chief Justice I was now the Great Chief. Well, it was also inspiring to meet and learn from the people whose ancestors made history. All of this whetted my appetite for what we will see today. Third, it was not long after I came to the Smithsonian in 2008 that Kevin told me about the idea for this exhibition. And now, 8 years of hard work by Kevin and his staff and our curators, the exhibition is opening. So I'm here to say congratulations to my colleagues for taking the risk in staging this exhibition and persevering through thick and thin to get it done. Let's give them a hand. This is not easy. Finally, I'm glad to be here to learn from those of you who are participants in this symposium. Many of you spent your lives studying aspects of the Inca civilization and its great engineering and construction feats. This is indeed a special moment. For the first time, so many experts are assembled who can share with the world the lessons learned from the Inca people, and they have much to teach us. Now, I mentioned that I was educated as an engineer. Kevin did. I received my undergraduate degree in civil engineering in 1964, just 8 years after President Eisenhower signed the legislation for the National Interstate and Defense Highways Act. The interstate highway system, as we know it today, was a monumental undertaking, eventually leading to a system of 47,000 miles of highways across our country. It took 45 years to complete using state-of-the-art equipment, powered equipment, advanced computer technology, particularly in the later years, and it cost over $125 billion. The system was justified on the basis of improved civilian transport and national defense, thinking that somehow we could move our military vehicles quickly from one area to the other. And of course, it also served as a means for commerce and everyday travel and became so popular that the word freeway is now obsolete. Because how many times have you been on the freeway and been stuck, right? We've learned the hard way, too, that where roads were not built to appropriately accommodate drainage and bearing issues, as the Inca do, those roads deteriorated quickly. And we've seen too often the tragic consequences where our bridges are not maintained, how people can suffer death and injury as a result of the collapse of the bridges. Unfortunately, what we built only a few generations ago is now under severe stress and losing its capacity to serve the purposes we envisioned for it. In fact, the most recent assessment by the American Society of Civil Engineers estimates the U.S. needs to invest $3.6 trillion with a T, if we are to keep up. I'm certain we could have learned much from the Inca Road that would have benefited our interstate highway system. The Inca Road spans over 20,000 miles and passes through deserts, tropical rainforests, and the high Andes Mountains. It was built using no wheel vehicles, no iron or steel tools, no beast of burden other than the llama. Yet the resourceful Inca people were able to create stable roadbeds, even where they had to be carved literally into vertical cliffs of rock. The people working on the system had no written language. They kept track of managing this system using knots tied in a rope and other techniques. In spite of their seeming lack of technology, the designs for the Inca Road incorporated state-of-the-art under-drainage systems. They used suspension bridges for the first time, incorporated landslide controls into their work, and as I mentioned, were masters at design against earthquake damage, and of course, really remarkable human resource management techniques. The Inca Road knitted together an empire across a country of widely different climatic regimes and cultures. It facilitated commerce, allowed rapid transit of troops from one area to another, and it sped communications. You can think of it as the first information highway. It spoke clearly to one and all that the Inca were a people who could accomplish great things. Although challenged by natural elements like heavy rainfall, freeze-thaw cycles, landslides, earthquakes, large segments of the Inca Road survive and are in use today. This symposium will help us understand how the Inca accomplished so much without the help of what we call modern technology. We can then assign the Inca their correct place in history and ensure that engineers in the future can use Inca knowledge to improve their ability to design for the long term and with a full appreciation of sustainability. And everyone, engineer or not, can learn the inspiring lessons of perseverance, creativity, and resourcefulness that the Inca teach us. So thank you for coming. Thank those of you who are speaking this symposium for sharing your knowledge with us. I look forward to the discussion and to a successful exhibition. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Smithsonian Secretary Emeritus, Dr. G. Wayne Clough. Thank you, NMAI Director Kevin Gover. Both of you for your steadfast support. I think I see Tim Johnson also in the audience, Associate Director. He was also an early champion of this project. And again, thank you for the belief that this project was worthy of the great effort.